Hello Stampers, MJ Owens here, your Southwest Stamper, coming to you from the land of enchantment. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the U.S. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Okay Stampers, today I would like to show you how I made this card. This is a birthday card, and today I'm going to change it into a thank you card. And this piece right here that's just a solid white background, I'm going to put a black border up behind this one like I did the rest of the layers, and I think it will make it stand out just a little bit better. So if you're ready, let's get started. I'm going to start by showing you the pieces of cardstock that we're going to use today. I'm using a base of mint macaron, and it's 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. Then I have two pieces of Whisper White, and they are cut at 5 1/4 by 4, and one is for the inside and one is for the outside. And then the black border for this one on the outside is cut just 1/8 of an inch bigger, and so that is cut at 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Then I'm using a piece of DSP, which is the Country Lane, I believe that's the name of the DSP, that goes with the stamp set we're going to be using today. And this DSP piece is cut at 3 by 4. And so the piece that it's going to layer on top of is cut at 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. And then this is a piece of Whisper White that's cut at 2 by 3, and the layering piece is cut at 2 1/8 by 3 1/8. I've already stamped the milk can on here because there's a lot of layers today and a little bit of coloring and some cutting out, so I figured I'd save a little bit of time there. This piece for the tag is cut at let's see, this one is 1 by 4, and then the layering piece is 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. And on all of these pieces, the black is just going to have like a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around, just enough to make the little stamping and the cutouts stand out. Okay, and I think that's all the pieces, so then let me show you what stamp sets we're going to be using today. We're going to use two stamp sets. One is Thankful Thoughts, and we're going to use the thanks out of here for the thank you card. And on the inside, if you could see my face, you'd see the smile you put on it. And then on in the Country Home stamp set, we are going to use the milk can, the cotton plant, and I think we're going to use the cotton plant in mint macaron also to stamp on our little tag piece. So let's get started. Okay, these are the pieces that we are going to be stamping on. Of course, this one's already stamped. Then I took a piece of scrap and I stamped the can on this, but I'm going to show you a little bit of coloring on this one. And then the piece of scrap that needs to be cut out, I'm going to show you how I colored this one. And so let's just go ahead and get our stamping done on these. Now these are photopolymer stamps, so I'm going to go ahead and get this little mat here that I have that'll make it stamp just a little bit cleaner. So let's start with the mint macaron. We're going to stamp that message on the inside. So let's stamp that here. Whoops, I got a little edge on that, so we don't want the edge on there. So let me clean this off with the Simply Chamois, and we'll turn that over and try it again. Okay. Let's see, I think I'll just go ahead and stamp it right here. Okay, that's perfect. We'll set that aside for a minute. Clean the stamp off right quick. Now we're going to use the mint macaron also and stamp the this little tag piece. So I think I'll stamp there. Then I'm going to turn it over, stamp there. Then I'm going to turn it back over. Stamp it like this so I can get a little bit more stamping on the piece. Okay, that's our cotton plant. And that's all the stamping that we're going to do with the mint macaron. Okay, now I stamped the milk cans with Stazon ink, and that's because we're going to use our Stampin' blends to color those. So I'm going to use the light Smoky Slate, and I'll show you how I did the can. Let's get this piece out of the way. So I just fill in the can with the Smoky Slate. And then I'm going to go with the contour of the can. And then you see how there's some light areas here and there. I'm going to leave some of those because it will show light shining on the metal can. Now where the darkest areas are, I'm just going to kind of darken the side here. And we can imagine that the light's coming from like this side. So this bottom, underneath this rim will be darker. Underneath this rim will be darker. And underneath the lid will be darker. And I think that's all for the shading, because when it dries, this light part will be lighter. Okay, then what I did, now this is the piece that's going to be cut out, and for the sake of not having you have to watch me cut it out, I already cut it out, but I'm going to show you what I did here was use the pumpkin pie, and I think it's the dark pumpkin pie. I just put a little bit of rust here and there because it looks like the can has been sitting outside. And it doesn't matter how much you put, just whatever you think. It's done when you think it's done. But I just needed to put a little bit of rust on my tin can, and that makes it look a little more realistic. So this is the piece that's going to layer on top. Now on this one, the cotton plant is going to be coming out of the can. So I colored it with the Stampin' Right markers, and I used Old Olive, and I'm going to use the big side. So I did the leaves first. There's not too many leaves on this plant, so one right here and one right here. And I think that's about it for the leaves. Then I took my crushed curry, which matches the designer series paper. If you look on the designer series paper on the label, it'll tell you what colors match, and so the crushed curry and the mint macaron, I think that's the new color, not rich raspberry, the other one, the dark one. I can't think of the name right now. And then this one's Cajun Craze and Blackberry Bliss. That one's Blackberry Bliss. So anyway, I took the crushed curry, and that's what we're going to do this. Whoops, I'm going to use the bigger side. That's what we're going to do these with, and it'll match the DSP. And then I took the Cajun Craze and I did the berries. Okay, and that's all the coloring on the plant. And then if you notice on the card, let me grab it right quick. I took a cotton ball and I took little snippets off the cotton ball and I glued cotton to the cotton plant, and it makes it so realistic looking. So I'll show you how I did that. But first this needed to be cut out. So what I did was wanted to show you how I colored it, and then I cut it out already to save a little bit of time. So then this is going to get layered on it, like coming out of the can. So I think what we'll do next is go ahead and put the card together, and then we'll put the cotton on last. So let's get all of our card pieces back here. So here's our card base, and then I can get this piece right here, and we'll get this tag made. Now Linda Bettinger, I watched one of her videos, and she showed us how to do make the label. You match up one end because it has this little border all the way around. So you put the border where you want it, and then you take your scissors and you cut these together. And that way, when you move it up, you have your same little border. So that's how we'll glue that together. So we might as well get that part done. Get these little pieces out of the way. So thanks, Linda. That was a nice little handy tip you gave us there. So let's see if we can get this pretty straight. With just a little bitty border all the way around. So there's one. Then we're going to put this piece on its border. Okay, and then we're going to put this piece on the inside of the card. Might as well get most of our gluing done while we're at it. Okay. And then this piece goes on the outside of the card. Top layer, first layer. Which is also going to be a very, very tiny border. Okay, and then looking at our sample here, let me move this out of the way. So this one, we'll put our next white piece on. Oops, what did I do with it? Oh, there it is. So then this is just our next layer. Like I said, there's a lot of layers to this card, but it turns out very pretty. Okay, there's that layer. Now this one gets pretty much centered. And then the next piece would be our little banner. And I just left a little margin down here on this piece. So then the next piece is our piece with the milk can. And the reason why this doesn't get cut out is because it just gets, this one gets layered on top of it to make it a 3D look. So, oh, this needs to be put on this one, the black border, to make it pop this time. I think that's going to look much better than having it just a plain there. Okay, so then we layer this one. And again, I'm just leaving a small little margin down here. And then this piece right here, we're going to glue on like it's coming out of the can, planted in the can. There. And then this one here, I'm going to take my bone folder and kind of round it just a little bit from the center. I'm going to give it a more of a 3D look. Oh, actually, instead of gluing that on, we're going to put that on with dimensionals. Make it pop. So I'm going to put one in each corner down here. Because if you mail these, you don't want your can to sink in the middle, so we're going to put several. One in the middle, one in these two corners up here. I call them corners, edges. And then this one up at the top. So that'll be enough to keep the curve there. So take the backing off. Whoa, don't want to stick to it. That's what I get for having them so close together, but it's a necessary evil. Okay, so we're going to center this right on top of the can that's already there. and it will give it a nice 3D look. Whoops, let me get these backings out of the way. I ended up with these things all over the house. Okay, so that is our card project, all other than just putting the cotton on. So I will be right back with a cotton ball, and I'll show you how I did that. Okay, before we put the cotton on, I forgot to stamp the word thanks down here. I don't think it makes a very good thank you card until we say thanks. Okay, so we're just going to put this right at the bottom. There. Okay, thanks. And then the inside, if you could see my face, you would see the smile you put on it. Okay, now we can get ready to put our cotton on. And you don't need to watch me put all the cotton on because we already have this one done, so you can see how it looks. But what I did was take a piece of wax paper so I don't get this wet and a baby wipe, because when you do these little snippets of cotton, I just take little snippets and drop them down. And we'll do like 3 so you can see how it works. You pick it up and then you kind of roll it on this, which is wet, and that way it keeps all those little fuzzies from getting all over the place. See how they like stick together? So I just kind of roll it around on a baby wipe and drop it on the paper. Okay, that's how I did all those little pieces. And you can, I didn't put one on every single one, but you certainly can, or you can put fewer than I did. It's a matter of preference. So let me get my pierce tool right quick. Okay, so what I did was I took the glue, and where I want to put the cotton, I just put a little dab of glue. Very little. So then you pick up the cotton and you kind of just press it on the glue. And that's how you make your cotton plant a cotton plant. And actually this piece is too big for there, so what I'll do is use it for one of these bigger areas. Okay, so that's how I did it. So then you just finish putting however much or however little cotton you want to put on your plant, and then your card will be finished. I hope you enjoyed today's project. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I would love for you to share this video with others. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. You can contact me through my online store or email me with any questions, and I'll list my email below this video. I'll also list the dimensions below of all the card pieces again, in case you didn't write them down or didn't want to pause the video to do that. And then along with the products and details. And thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye.